Good day or good afternoon. So I'm trying to make the presentation for the code base. Alright, so I'm trying. Alright, so I have the app.js, script.js, and index.js. And I don't know if I should go through the whole front end, like the styles and all the codes, but I could just go over the backend application. So I just put everything in one file, in contrast to Postgres, where we had different files, the DTOs, controllers, the service. So I started by installing all the dependencies like npm install. I installed Express, Mongoose, pcrypt, JSON Web Token, NodeMailer, CORS, Path, EJS. Installed all of them, then I called them here. After I called them, I initiated the Express. So I initiated the Express and specified the port from the .env file. So if you do not read this is the alternatives to know that, let you know that it's on port 4000. After then, I had connected the middleware using CORS. That's for the front end to communicate with the back end. I'm sorry, my touchpad is really so yeah, I called CORS, specified it on the local host, specified the methods, even though we're just going to use post and get. Then I called and initiated the Express. I specified the files, where all the files will be, the static files. I put all of them inside the public folder. So you can see all the images, the JavaScript, on the CSS, all of them are inside the public folder, while the index.js is inside the views folder, just for organization sake. And then I also initiated the EJS. After I initiated the EJS, I connected the MongoDB from the .env file here. So specify the URI. After then, I ensured the MongoDB was working with a console log string. So let me know that okay, the MongoDB is working. After that one started working, I started setting up the models using the schema. So I used Postgres a lot before I started using ExpressJS. So it was quite easy to understand how in the ExpressJS is just straightforward, right? In the same file. When in the Progress we add different files for the models on the schema in the prisma.schema file. So yeah, I just did the three major schema. The user, specified that the user had to be in the string, and it's necessary and important, and the email and the password. I had to cancel the phone since I could not use Twilo anymore, and then created that. Then did the mule schema, got all the data from the front end, the entry score, the rating, all the number, the image in string, then the description. Then the last one was the order schema, right? Specify the user ID which is required, then the mule ID, quantity, and the price. So after I set up all the schema, I'm just going to use this. I went on to set up the models, the user model, the mule model, and the order model specifying their schemas. Now I went on to set up the notification using node mailer. So how to receive mail, specify Gmail, and use the function create transport, which would allow the authenticated user receive mail. So referred back to the .env file where we specified the admin, so the sender of the mail, and then I use my Google app password to initialize that. After I called and set up the node mailer, I didn't do for Twilio. I created the send notification function using the try and catch block. Then transporter send mail that particular user from that admin user to the email that will be put in during authentication, then the subject of welcome, and then text with a message. The error, if it doesn't go through, I put an error notification there. Then the home page is just initializing the page. Made a post, a get request for the home page, so calling the index, that's like the whole front end. And if it is as initialized, I logged on a message. So after that, I went to this is the login sign up. This is the sign up block. So because on the page I put in a sign in form, right, and then an option for sign up. If the user is not signed up, then there's a question is, are you signed up? And then the person will click signed up, then the form will come up, a modal will come up that was hidden. So once you click the sign up button, the modal then comes up, and then we can now call this function, right, with this route all tested on Postman. So async function require, and then respond to first know that to validate that this is working. I logged on the console. Okay, yes, I've received the registration request from the body. And you try and catch block, using the name, email, and password object, destructure it, and require from the body. Created a variable called existing user. So existing user is true if the user finds this email, right? And so if that existing user is true, we return a response with a message 404 saying email already in use. So it means that the person has already signed up before, so this email is already in use. Person will just go and sign in, right? And then use bcrypt to hash the password and the sort of 10, right? Then created a variable hashed password where the bcrypt would hash the password with 10 salt. Now to create the users, created a variable user with the object name, email, password, which is the hash password, and then we await and save that user. Now when the user is signed up, we send a notification with the string welcome to OmniFood. Use backtick, put the name, so the name that the person used to register. We take that and then log it and say thank you for eating with OmniFood, right? Then we have a response success. Send the response status, and then the catch error. If it's not successful, it logs in error status 500. server error. Now the login form, which is generally on the front end visibly, right? Because you sign up is hidden until you clicked, but this is on the front end on the page. We'll make that call, API post call. So we create the login form, async function, require and then respond with a try and catch error, requiring the structuring just the email and password from the body. Now we create a variable user to find that particular email that was put in. So once we catch this email that is put in, if we don't find that email, so if this user is not true, we return a response status invalid username, and then we'll create a variable for when it's true, comparing when the password is correct, using bcrypt to compare the imputed password and the saved password. So we'll compare. So if they don't match, we send the response status error saying invalid credentials. Then the token, now we create a token using the JSON web token dot sign, require the user ID from the user ID that will be specified. Now referring back to our .env, this is our JSON web secret, using that to track and send the JSON web token, which expires in, I set the 1 day duration. After that, we send the response to call the token that was created, right, and save it as token. And if we don't find that token, if there's an error, if it doesn't go through, we send the response error 500 server error. Now we'll move on to authenticating the middleware. So ensuring only logged in users can place an order. So if the users are not logged in and they click on any of the buttons, it would show an error, right? So use an async function, require response and next, calling it inside the auth. So this auth is what allows the user, is what tells the system that okay, this user has logged in and signed in, and then person can make an order. So auth will contain a try and catch error where we will require that token, call it token. Then if we've gotten the token, we'll send the log saying received token, right? I put this console log to just ensure, okay, let me get this code in the terminal if the user has gotten the token, because when I was developing I had a series of issues, so I had to put console log in most of these lines to know what stage the error would come from. So that's why I had this console log there, and then specify the token has gotten, right? So we'll verify with JSON web token that particular token I was gotten from the process.env, and then we require the user. So I'll wait that particular user will now find the ID, right? Then after we find the ID, if we don't find that particular user, we'll throw an error. But if we do, next. So is the error, the auth error, if you don't find this. I also did this during when the code was, I was having troubles in this part, so I added these comments to inspect, where it was giving me the error. So if we don't get the token, that means if you don't have this auth is not true and we don't have the token, we'll send in a response status 401 saying please authenticate, right? So now to get the mules route, make an API call to fetch the mules, right, in a try and catch block. So we'll find that mule, I'll wait and find the mule from mules, right? So from the mules, from our mongoose schema, right? If we don't find that mule, we send in an error saying server error. So if we found those mules, that means we can order now, because the mule is found, is legit, is there. So make a post API request requiring auth. So reiterating the logic that says if the user is not logged in, the person cannot make an order. So requiring auth, and this async function require and respond in a try and catch block. So the structure mules, so that particular mule that we got from our MongoDB, from the body. So console log again to ensure what we are progressing. So if we get the mules, we should log it to the console from the body, and then send another log saying user has been authenticated. So you can proceed to validate that each mule has a mule ID and person can make an order. So if the mules, this mule that we got from our schema, if the mules is not part of every mule, it doesn't have a mule ID, so to speak. So if all the mules, they don't have this mule ID, we'll return an error message saying each mule must have an ID. So I going back to the index.ejs, specified ID for each of the mules, right? So every mule must have an ID. So now this is the order function in a variable called order. Require the user ID, the mules, the total number of, using the reduce function, use the reduce function, sum, and then the mule. So this arithmetic logic here will give us the total quantity made, right? So that's the total plus the mule price times the mule quantity. Alright, so we will wait and save that order. Now, after the user makes an order, we send the order confirmation. So I call it send notifications, and we await it. And then we require the user, if the user is true, we send a code saying order confirmation in a backtick, then specify the particular order ID that was placed successfully with the total amount gotten from this function here, and then we'll log it. So we'll ask the notification our user will receive from the mail, okay, that they've received this amount of, they've played this order in this amount of money. Alright, so we'll call the total from the object here, order.total, and then we'll call it success status 201, right? If not, status 201 will call the order, will give us the order, the object of the order, right? If not, we'll send an error saying server error, and this console log also to track the development, sending in an error message. Now to get the order route, to trace the particular order, we'll call get app.get API method also requiring the auth, so the user must have signed in. And then sync function, require response, try and catch block, create a variable called order, wait, and then that order would find that particular user that we specified earlier. So we'll find the user that is making the order. After we find it, we'll call populate on it. After we call populate on the particular meal ID, we then call on sort to sort when the order was created would be the first. So like it should stack up according to the first one. So if it is called at 10 p.m., the other one should follow suit. That's reason for the -1. And then we would respond to the JSON orders. And then if you don't get it, you call the catch error would throw a 500 message saying server error. Now we initialize the mules. So if we don't initialize the mules, we won't trace the mules. So that's why we're initializing the sample mules, which we just have 3. So we'll call an async function and call it initialize mules. Right, here we specify the names, the price, category from the front end, and the image. So we are just initializing what's on the front end. Initialize the mules here. Right. So we then call it try and catch error to check the mules if they have been initialized. So if they have not been initialized, we throw an error initializing the mules. So after this, I think is to call the port. Okay, yes, now run the port. So calling the whole app to listen for at the port at this port that we specified earlier, which is 4000. Then we'll call the initialize the mules function. So this is basically the front end, the server side of the application. Alright, so sorry, just want to go over some of the functions in the script.js, like the order button, login form, and the register form. Thank you.